So, when you picture Christmas, what comes to mind? Is it snow, sleigh bells, maybe? Well, in Guatemala, the picture is really different. It's this incredible story that's woven together from Catholic rituals and a really ancient Maya worldview. Let's dive into this amazing cultural crossover. And it all kicks off with a bit of a puzzle. Picture this. To start the most sacred season of the year, whole communities gather together to set a giant effigy of the devil on fire. It feels like a total paradox, right? But believe it or not, understanding this one tradition, that's the key to unlocking the entire story.
Okay, so to get our bearings, let's start with the calendar. At first glance, the timeline for a Guatemalan Christmas looks pretty familiar. It stretches across a whole month of celebration.
So the rhythm of the season starts on December 7th with that very event we just talked about, La Quema del Diablo, the burning of the devil. From there, you have Las Posadas, which are these 9 nights of processions that reenact the search for an inn. Then you hit the climax on December 24th, Noche Buena, Christmas Eve, with a huge family feast and midnight mass. And for a lot of people, it all wraps up on January 6th with the Day of the Three Kings. Now, this first layer of meaning is the very clear Christian narrative. The posadas are way more than just parades. They're like devotional theater. The devil burning, that's framed as a purification ritual, cleansing away all the evil before the holy days. The fireworks are all about dramatizing Christ's birth at midnight. And even the food reinforces these big themes of family and devotion. Everything fits really neatly into this Catholic story. But if we stop there, we miss the most fascinating part. We have to look deeper at the story beneath the story. This is where we find the indigenous, mostly Maya, worldview that gives these traditions their totally unique shape and soul. Okay, let's go right back to our burning devil, because it's the perfect example. Through that Catholic lens, you see a clear triumph of good over evil. But if you look at it through a Maya lens, well, using fire as this powerful cleanser at a big seasonal turning point has deep pre-Christian roots. It's a rite of community renewal. So you see, it's not one or the other, it's both, happening at the exact same time. So what's actually powering these huge public celebrations? It isn't just belief. There's a kind of social engine at work. The tradition of community reciprocity, of mutual hosting and working together on things. That's a cornerstone of so many indigenous cultures. This social infrastructure is why Christmas happens out in the streets, and not just inside private homes. And this brings us to the most crucial point. These two worlds, they don't just exist side by side. No, they actively blend together and create something completely new. And there's a word for this: syncretism. This is the aha moment. See, syncretism isn't about one culture erasing another. It's about the creative fusion that happens when they meet. This is the process that gives Guatemalan Christmas its unique, one-of-a-kind identity. So how does this blending actually work? Well, we can see 4 key ways this happens. First, there's that layered meaning, just like we saw with the devil binding. Then there's place-based theology, which makes a universal story feel super local. We've got community as the engine, where those social structures we talked about make the whole event possible. And finally, public punctuation, where something like fireworks becomes a community signal for both sacred moments and just pure collective joy. Okay, so with that framework in mind, let's look at some of the really beautiful concrete results of this cultural blending. This is Christmas, truly made in Guatemala. Honestly, there is no better example than the nativity scenes, which are called nacimientos. Just look at this. Bethlehem is completely reborn in Guatemala. You can see the local landscape, the figures are dressed in this vibrant, beautiful indigenous clothing, and they even use native plants and animals. This isn't just decoration, It's a profound statement that says, this holy story happened here, in our world, among us. This table here really helps break it down. You can see how some traditions, like the Posadas and Midnight Mass, are more Christian in their form, right? Others, like the fire cleansing or the local aesthetics, they clearly show a continuity of indigenous logic. But the real magic is in that last column. The entire public celebration isn't one or the other. It's a fully blended syncretic reality. So what is the crucial point we should take away from all this? It's a really powerful idea about how culture works. This isn't a story of one culture replacing another, but one of rebirth. This quote just says it all. The story that's being told is Christian, sure, but the language used to tell it, the way it's performed, the way it's felt and shared, that is deeply Guatemalan. The Christian narrative is expressed through an indigenous worldview.
And that creates something totally new and authentic in the process. And this leaves us with one final thought. Because this process of blending, it happens everywhere. So the next time you celebrate a holiday, any holiday, ask yourself, what are the stories beneath the story? What hidden layers of meaning exist in your own traditions?